Hello, everyone. My name is Grace Meyer, and this is how I applied the theory of planned behavior to my clinical question of how can nurses encourage safe sex practices. This is the original concept map that I created with the barriers to safe sex. We will start with lack of education. There is a general lack of education of safe sex practices across the United States. There's a large push for abstinence only education, which is like the mainstay education for sex ed in the United States. This ties into religious values. A lot of religious groups don't want to teach safe sex. They push abstinence only. There might be some lack of communication between sexual partners. They might not want to bring up safe sex practices, and this ties into discomfort. It's could be an uncomfortable conversation to have with someone that you want to use safe sex practices during sex. And then optimism bias. This means that you're aware of the negative consequences of a behavior, but you choose to act that way anyways because you don't think it will happen to you. So many people may feel that they're aware of STIs, but they don't think that they'll get one just because it's them. And on the right, I have some data about why do we need this research. So I found that 9% of college students have had four or more sexual partners in the last year. And college students and people generally ages 20 to 24 have the highest STI rates of any other age group. There are many long-term health consequences that come from STIs, especially in women, like pelvic inflammatory disease. And then also, again, that abstinence only education is kind of the mainstay education for sex ed in the United States. This is the concept map of the theory of planned behavior by Asgen. In this theory, there are three factors that contribute to a behavior. So there's attitudes, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control. So for attitudes, in order to enact a certain behavior, you have to have a positive attitude about the outcome of that behavior. So for sex ed, you would want to have a favorable attitude for having safe sex. The subjective norms. This means what is everyone else doing? Is it normal to use a condom? Is it normal to have more than one sexual partner? And then perceived behavioral control. According to Asgen, this is the greatest indicator for someone enacting a behavior. That's why there's a direct line from perceived behavioral control to behavior. And this means, does the person feel that they are in control of the behavior they're about to perform? And that he deemed the most important. This is my conceptual map that I applied my clinical question to the theory of planned behavior. On the right, I have a few references for other researchers who applied this theory to my clinical question. So I will start on my conceptual model on bullet point one under nursing interventions. This nursing intervention applies to attitudes. We're trying to create favorable attitudes towards safe sex. So in order to do so, we need to assess people's beliefs about the pros and cons of condom use or safe sex. And then we need to provide them an education about the pros and cons of safe sex and about STIs. Under bullet point number two, we have assess current sex practices and condom use, and then provide group education. This will contribute to favorable attitudes and the social norm. We want to create a social norm that safe sex is what's happening, is what's going on with everyone. And then for number three, this ties into perceived behavioral control. And we have assess relationship dynamics between patients and their partners, and then educate both males and females alike to provide techniques so they can exert control during sex. So again, this was Asgen's, the perceived behavioral control was his most important factor. But in the research I found from these two references on the right, I found that attitudes was actually the biggest indicator for engaging in safe sex. People needed to understand why they need to perform safe sex. And according to the research, it led to more condom use if they had an education and that they felt that there were more pros than cons to participating in safe sex. I think the biggest takeaway I would like my peers to grab from this presentation is that us as nurses are really important on it. It's really important to educate our patients. We have kind of a duty to, in all areas of healthcare, educate our patients on what's going on with their body and how they can stay healthy. I think not just this topic, but even other reproductive health things need a lot of education for a lot of people. And I really think it's important as nurses that we take our job of education and educating the public about their health very seriously. Here are my references. Thank you for listening, and I can't wait to watch your videos.